Hello YouTube, this is Jeno, and I'm here with another tutorial on Ramlethal. So let's talk about Ram and her defense. It is pretty bad. She's probably one of the worst defensive characters in the game. What makes a good defensive character though? Usually fast buttons, fast normals to get them out of situations that other characters really can't, and reversals. Usually, with a combination of both of those, you become a really solid defensive character. And Ram lacks both of those. She doesn't have a fast normal, and it's kind of stubby. 2P. It reaches pretty far, but I think it's still stubby. You don't get much off of it. And she doesn't have a meterless reversal. Her only reversal is Morbato. It's torsion glass. I'll kind of tell you how to use it later. But she doesn't really have a meterless reversal. So it kind of makes her a bad defensive character. Great offense, great pressure, great neutral, terrible defense. One of the worst in the game. Almost the worst. And she has really low health, so when she does get hit, she's going to take a lot of damage. So let's kind of get talking about how you can play defense with ramp then, since she's pretty bad. Well, you kind of have to use game mechanics. So the first one we're going to talk about is, I don't know, it wasn't working, FD. Faultless defense. It stops chip damage, and it also pushes the opponent away further. It's kind of like a push block. And since we are pushing them away, it kind of gives us a better opportunity. So let's kind of see what situation. So let's have Soul do what most Souls are gonna do. They're gonna, oopsie, wrong recording. All right, let's do what most Souls are gonna do, and they're gonna far slash you. They're gonna hit you with this button a lot, and if you know what they're gonna do, I'm pretty sure most Souls are just gonna keep pressing it until you press something you're not supposed to and get counter hit. That's kind of what most Souls are kind of fishing for. They're kind of fishing for you to get counter hit. So what can we do to get out of this situation, right? Because obviously, I can't press far slash. I can't press 5K, really. I'm getting counter hit. What can I do? My buttons are really slow, I can use that. That was an accident. But what can I use? So if I press FD, you see how far Soul is going? It makes that he's +2 on block a lot less scary, right? So he's going to use this. He's getting pushed back a lot further, and by the end, he's basically not going to get hit anymore. So I could use Ram's better normals, which are 5K, 2K, and even 5P, to kind of get myself out of this situation with FD combined. So as you can see, he's going to FD, 5K, smacks him right in the face. Now I'm going to FD, 2K, gets his legs. Now I'm going to FD, boom, 5P gets him. Some of these options actually give pretty good reward too. As you can see, I got a good knockdown there. The easy way to get your turn back. This is going to work against all moves. You kind of have to lev which ones these aren't going to work as. But if there's two combinations I would try is FD and some of your kick buttons and even your 5P. You get good reward off guessing right. You can even use 6P in a lot of situations. A lot of souls are just going to hit this button. You could 6P them out. If you FD properly, that's kind of like the goal against this character and a lot of characters in the game that run strike throw. So yeah, it's a pretty good option, right? I'd recommend learning this against more characters. Combination FD and some of your better buttons like 5K and 2K will get you out of a lot more situations than you think. Another system mechanic that I think is widely underused is up back. Offense kind of has to be structured to beat up back, and as you could see, even if I miss the up back, I still get the block. And let's say I'm up backing right, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to up back, I'm gonna get hit. Well, that's kind of wrong, right? As long as I'm pressing up back, I will get the block in the air. And unless there's pressure structured specifically to beat up back, you won't get hit. And I'm telling you, a lot of characters, a lot of players, like 95% of the player base, aren't going to structure their offense to beat up back. So you'll be able to get out a lot of situations. And even the players that do know how to beat it, you have to present it enough times to them for them to be like, all right, I have to do this to beat up back. So let's kind of see how we could use up back, especially when we combine with FD. So let's say, Soul's hitting me, I can up back, I'm out. Let's say get another string, right? Because we'll talk about how we can get a punish, right? So, Soul's gonna do this is a pretty common block string. As you can see, I up back and air dashed out, and I'm out, right? Let's get it again. Up back, I'm out. You could even get a punish on him. Oopsie, I missed the punish. Alright. I don't know why we can't air dash today. Boom. As you can see, I got a punish today. I got a punish there. So up back is really good because again, mixed with FD, and a lot of players aren't going to cover up back. You could get out of that situation pretty easy, and you get you get a punish off of it. So then you're gonna start doing up back a lot, and a lot of people are gonna start chasing it, right? If they don't know how to set up their offense to beat it, they're gonna start jumping. They're gonna start, waiting on the other side of the screen. You're gonna start waiting on the other side of the screen and 6Ping, right? You're like, oh, I'm just gonna air dash out, and he's just gonna smack you for it, right? You're just gonna smack you for it. You're back in the corner. So what can you do to get out of that? Well, you could do a couple things, right? You could kind of delay your air dash out. You could do a double jump. You could do a super jump air dash. You could do a super jump air dash. You kind of get a bunch of jump options. This is kind of why it's so strong, right? Because they can't really do a specific thing to stop it. They kind of just have to position themselves and structure their offense to do it. So, and let's say they get really good at stopping it, right? Like they got the 6Ps on deck, they're just sitting there. Ram has one more option that a lot of characters don't have, and it's kind of like a dive kick, which makes being in the air against or being below Ram a little scary. It is this cat scratch. It is a plus on block advancing special move. It hits really below her, so it's really hard to 6P. As you can see, I'm going to have Soul do 6P, and I'm going to hit him, right? It goes behind him. And I'm going to have him do it again. 6P does beat this move, but you have to practice it. It's not just something that, again, right there, I timed it, so he punished it. But again, most characters aren't going to know how to punish it, and combined with all your jump options in the game, it becomes very threatening, right? Because you could do that. He got the 6P there, but you could do that. You could do this. You could do it really low to the ground. You could do air dash, jump, scratch. You can do, super jump, scratch. You could do air dash, cat scratch. Oops, see, I did it too late. You could do air dash, cat scratch. So it becomes really a kind of a mind game. The opponent has to play with you because you're like, oh, I'm just going to cat scratch out. And it's really hard to punish because you have to really time your 6P. And then you can play the mind games with jumping and air dashing. So you are really messing with your 6P timing. Base becomes un-6Pable at some points because of how much variety there is in punishing it. Let's say you play against someone that's really good at punishing it. I know we don't really talk about meter yet, but let's just talk about a little bit of meter. You can do cat scratch RC, which could get you out of the situation. You're able to do that, or oopsie, I didn't have any meter because I used it. Then you're able to get out. You're kind of able to cover so much distance with this move. So I recommend up back and then mixing some cat scratch in there, and right. So like let's say they are really good at 6Ping it, and you're like, oh, they're gonna 6P my cat scratch, right? Like, oh, what do I do? Then you can just hit them with normals on the ground. So it becomes using up back, using FD, and using this cat scratch. You become a lot better of a defensive character than your buttons and your specials make it seem like you are. So let's kind of get started on our next tool that we use on RAM. Backdash. Backdash is pretty good. Let's use this recording. So this kind of was kind of a basic soul thing that might happen. Sometimes souls will try leaving gaps in their block strings so they can counter hit you if you think you could press a button, right? So let's say we're just hitting backdash here. I actually get a punish on her little backdash. So boom, right? I get a punish. And let's say, you stop souls. You stop souls from delaying their block strings a bit because you've been backdashing them the whole time. Let's do this, right? This recording. We're going back to the far slash recording. This is actually grabbable. Souls that aren't going to space it, they have to be pretty good at spacing it too. You could grab it a lot. You have to be pretty good at spacing it. And the only way to really beat the grab here is to delay your block string a little bit so you counter hit the grab. So like let's say they're doing this one, right? This is going to smoke grab. They're leaving a big enough gap that I press grab and I die. But again, you put your mind games in, you get a backdash, you get a punish on them, or you get your turn back at the very least if you're not that fast. So then let's talk about the gaps again, right? Because gaps in offense is bad, right? You're able to use reversals through it. Ram doesn't have a reversal, but she does have a metered reversal. So let's kind of go back to this recording where Soul is doing this gun flame, right? So if you look at my inputs, I'm going to be inputting super the whole time and see when it comes out. Boom. So I inputted super the whole time there. I was just, doing this and pressing S. And as soon as there was a gap in the offense, my super came out. That's kind of what makes Ram scary. And since it's so fast, they can't really react to it. Basically, when you're playing as Ram, if you present this super option, they're going to be really scared to put gaps in their defense, which makes you able to FD their defense better, right? So you kind of have to use all these defensive mechanics and all of Ram's options on defense to kind of make her defense a lot better than it really is. If you're not using all of them, the character becomes really weak to just someone just hitting one button against you and just murdering you for it. So, yeah, it could be using a lot of block strings. I think even the first one, it's not a true block string, right? So it's, let's say Soul is just spamming this on you. If you're spamming Morbado, you get it. And, even the one to beat grab, right? Let's say you've conditioned them. You're like, all right, I'm going to grab you, and then they're going to start, or I'm going to press buttons, or I'm going to start grabbing you, and they're going to start frame trapping you, right? Boom. Morbado, it's super fast. It's pretty good. And then let's see if I get one more tutorial in. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but this is really good against like faster characters. It's kind of mostly just melee attack, but a lot of characters that are in the air are not doing like real stuff to you. A lot of their stuff has a lot of gaps in it. And I said that, Ram doesn't have the best defensive options because of her stubby normals, but she has pretty good defense she has pretty good defense because of all the stuff I said, right? So it makes her a little bit scary. So let's say Amelia does that to you, right? So let's record that. Oopsie. That is not real. Oopsie. I started doing it too late. You could 5P that. There's a lot of gaps that if you're just delaying an attack, you'll get. She'll kind of do that over you. So that's kind of what I recommend. I kind of look for FDs, and then when you think something has a gap in it, you can start using your P buttons. But thanks for coming. I hope this video was useful. Again, Ram doesn't have the best defensive options, but with system mechanics and using all the tools put together, you could really form a good defensive game plan with Ram. Thanks for coming. Like and subscribe. Follow my Twitch. Follow my YouTube. See you guys.